As we stay on this region, a tense calm returned to the Syrian city of Sweida today following a week of deadly clashes between Druze fighters and armed Bedouin tribesmen. Security forces were deployed in Al-Mazrah village near the city to block further entry of Bedouin tribesmen. One tribal member said they would wait until 1 p.m. local time for Druze fighters to hand over weapons, casualties, and bodies from recent fighting. Residents reported no gunfire today morning, and a Druze source confirmed relative calm in most areas. Let's listen in to what one of the local tribesmen had to say.
ساعة واحدة طلع اتفاق خلصوا سلموا أسلحتهم وسلموا الجرحى وسلموا القتلة سلموا ما سلموا ساعة واحدة يا نيلهم يا نموت موتة واحدة يا ناخذها منهم ما عاد نصبر عليهم أكثر من الساعة واحدة للأمن العام هسه الناس تكتفوا وترجع وتخلص شغل للأمن العام على راسي من فوق ومن بعد الساعة واحدة.
The violence began a week ago and escalated despite government troops being sent to contain it. Damascus troops were later accused of abuses and withdrew after Israeli strikes and a Wednesday truce. A new ceasefire announced Saturday quickly broke down, highlighting the challenge facing interim President Ahmed al-Sharat as he struggles to impose order across the fractured country. Now we go back to our guest discussion with Peter Baum. Thank you, Peter, for staying with us. Now, how do tribal and ethnic identities shape the dynamics of such conflict and peace-building efforts in regions like Sweida?
Yeah, the Syrian situation is a very, very complex one for all interested parties. Clearly, the Syrian government had made the new Syrian government made every effort possible to bring in the West, the European Union, the Trump administration, etc. And at the beginning of his reign, they have welcomed him with open arms and indeed funded and have promised more funding to him. Now, the situation has blown up between, as we know, the Bedouins, the Arab tribesmen, and the Druze, and it looked as if at one stage the Syrian army had taken sides in supporting the Bedouin clans and the jihadists against the Druze. Now, the new Syrian government realized very quickly that if they were to be considered to be a true player in the region and to gain the respect of those that matter, the European Union and the Americans, they would have to row back on their natural instinct and ideology to support the anti-Druze factions. And for a while, and I think as at this very moment, as we're speaking, the ceasefire in Syria is actually holding, albeit with some fairly minor but dangerous skirmishes within the Sweida neighbourhoods. So the new Syrian regime will have to come down very strongly on these armed militia factions, the Bedouin clansmen and other bussed in. Let's be frank, there have been reports of Chechens being bussed in to fight against the Druze. And of course, Israel will have none of that. But in order to gain the full support of the European Union and the Americans, because let's face it, Russia has no say in this anymore. Russia's military presence and political credibility vanished with the fall of Assad.
Peter,
Turkey, sorry.
I'll have to stop you there, but thank you very much for joining us today and sharing your insight throughout our news. That was Peter Baum, foreign editor of Weekly Blitz. Now we move on to our next news. Ukraine